Get some Z's. You never know what tomorrow will bring. Why? Because no one does fun like Carnival. Carnival. Choose fun. Ships Registry, Bahamas, Panama.
Successful athletes are masters of their craft. Talent's only part of their success. It takes years of training and practice with commitment, dedication, and discipline. It also takes passion and a powerful sense of purpose. It's not unlike the first ever Mazda CX-90, a powerful premium three-row SUV, intentionally designed with that same approach to craftsmanship, passion, and focus. Like a successful athlete, the Mazda CX-90 is exceptional in space. Learn more about the Mazda CX-90 at MazdaUSA.com.
There are cars that merely move you from point A to point B, and then there are cars that move you visually, emotionally, and holistically. Welcome to the first ever Mazda CX-90, a masterpiece of design and performance that aligns perfectly with you and your lifestyle. The three-row SUV is thoughtfully built with expert craftsmanship, precision engineering, high-quality details, and the ability to seamlessly connect car and driver to move every part of you. The Mazda CX-90, Mazda's most powerful vehicle yet.
Duluth Trading knows it's all too easy for the same old holiday gifts to start feeling ho-ho-hum. Be done with ho-hum and start gifting buck-naked underwear, Noga pants, and free swinging flannels and all those tired old gifts right on their Yuletide tuchus. Holiday the unaverage way and get the best deals of the season. Only at Duluth Trading.
Look no further than Sports Grid Radio on SiriusXM. Their winning team of experts, led by Scott Farrell, are analyzing the lines and odds for every game and updating the latest player props and team win totals.
Their quarterback situation is an absolute mess. With a win total of 9.5, I'm hammering the under.
Become a better with Sports Grid Radio, SiriusXM Channel 159.
To hear Sports Grid Radio on SiriusXM, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018148868.
Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM. We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $833 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, vidi vidi vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Johnny of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to me and people who love the universe, and that would be you too. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! It's 10 o'clock in the morning. As I've told you many times, I've been nominated to be the neighborhood spokesperson, and I'm trying to bring the neighborhood together, but some people just don't appreciate it when it's 3 o'clock in the morning. But you don't have to worry about 3 o'clock when you follow Big C Sports. You can follow 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast platforms all over the universe. And streaming on 4 TV platforms. You can find us on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, TuneIn Podcast, Good Pods Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also follow Big C Sports on GeoSavan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminaria Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Purple Podcast, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic, and one that used to scare me, but now it doesn't. It's called allfees.ai. Give that some praise. The robot to take it over. But we don't want the robot to take all the way over. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV podcast platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. You got to give that some praise because we all need to have a way to follow Big C Sports Podcast. I'm telling you, it's the holiday season. People are having holiday parties, whether it's Chamber of Commerce, whether it's real estate, mortgage companies are having their holiday get-togethers. And a lot of people are going around their hills trying to figure out the best way to get some free food. Well, unlike the free food, because I've been juicing for about the last 2 weeks now, and man, I'm starting to think my best friend is a bathroom. I don't like to use public restrooms, but sometimes you gotta go. But I am cleaning myself out, and my middle name might be Clean Me Out. What they say, beam me up, Scotty, in Star Trek. It's like, clean me out, Big C. Been cleaning myself out. Think I've even lost about 2 pounds. It's all fair level war. I want to tell you what I love about Big C Sports. I love paying homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. 8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I do. It's nice when somebody's leaning back, if that makes sense to you. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe, just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said, let there be light. And some people get it twisted. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love what I do with Big C Sports. Number 1, I always produce the show. Number 2, I direct the topics. Number 3, I broadcast all the shows. Number 4, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I know I could use more laughter. And then the commercials are done, the stats are provided, I do the storytelling, I even do the play-by-play, and then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and I'm in Denver Hills, California. And number 10, I never missed a show since working doing the Big C Sports podcast that I started back at Salem Media with the crew. I believe in rising and shining. If you believe in rising and shining, give that some praise. Give it praise. We all got to rise and shine. What I love doing also today, I'm going to talk about some things, as I always do. I'm the foremost expert, a maven as it may be, on reparations in the world of the sports universe. In the world of the sports universe, Big C Sports is a maven when it comes to reparations. Maven? Yes. Well, what's Maven, Curry? Google it. I got to tell you, the Associated Press, I want to pay homage to them because I know we want to know who won the game. I know the Chargers and the Raiders are playing tonight. But the NFL, they failed to talk about reparations. Now, they did put in racism on the back of the end zones, and that's a start. But I think it's now time to elevate the conversation to what President Zelensky is asking for. I think Biden just signed up on $200 million for Kiev. I got to make sure I understand that. I'll cover that in the story later. But I do want to take the time to say that every person that's ever said, Big C, you talk too much politics. I want to say Janie Har, the Associated Press, you can't get much bigger than that. March 29th, 2023, She wrote an article on reparations. And she called me, and I ring, hello. Hi, is this Charlton Curry? Yes, it is. Who am I speaking to? This is Janie Hart, the Associated Press. I said, well, how'd you get my number? She said, we have our ways. I said, well, how can I help you? What made you call me? She said, I heard you speak at a reparations rally, and I want to get your thoughts on reparations. I said, if you heard me speak, you know my thoughts. I believe what President Abraham Lincoln said when he said reparations now, reparations forever. And those have been my thoughts long before there was a task force put together in California. But in the article, she mentioned, for those of you who say that Big C Sports talks about politics too much, she mentioned the same thing that I found in other articles about Big C Sports. And it's important because if a news outlet like the Associated Press, the story was also carried by NBC News, it was carried by CBS News, it was carried by ABC News and Fox. So that means that I'm not a maven. If the Associated Press thinks highly enough of one beautiful, intelligent black man in Dimdale Hills, California, to give you case law about why reparations are necessary, it's more necessary than saying, I can't believe they're going to suspend Draymond Green indefinitely. They're going to suspend Draymond Green indefinitely. Well, who cares? Draymond Green makes about $200 million a game. I'm not talking about practice. I'm talking about the game. Not practice. I'm talking about the game. About $200 million a game. And media love to tell you that. And what they don't tell you is that California's already behind closed doors. They've already earmarked between $1 million, it's actually $1.2 million, and $3 million for descendants of chattel slavery that have been here since the 1900s. They don't tell you that part. Well, how do you learn that part? You follow Big C Sports and you give me some praise. And it mentions NBC News. Just like the Associated Press and CBS. California reparations, March 30th, 2023. It says Charlton Curry of Dimdale Hills, California, who discusses reparations on his Big C Sports podcast. Google it and give it some praise. You gotta believe. No, so maybe I'm not a maven after all. Because it says cash payments are necessary and that money talks. I did not write that story. That was written based on an interview that I gave. And my interview is factual. I love sports too. Sports is a billion-dollar industry. And boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. But that's when shucking and jiving is standing up for the kickoff for the Raiders and Chargers, and God bless them. President Biden announces $200 million for Kiev as President Zelensky appeals to lawmakers in Washington. The latest tranche to include more missiles, more munitions, but United States Congress remains seemingly unmoved days before the new vote on $60 billion. Now, this came out yesterday, December 13th. Today is the 14th. Now, I don't know what's happened in the meantime, because as I was doing research, I didn't find anything else new about it. But during the visit, President Zelensky in Washington on Tuesday, United States President Joe Biden announced that he signed a $200 million presidential drawdown for military aid to Kiev. But the members of Congress, they showed little interest in changing their opinion on the new $110 billion package. My goodness, Zelensky, when he asks for something for Christmas, he's asking big. I know people who just want to get a Tonka truck or a new pair of shoes. It's got to be the shoes. But listening to President Zelensky, he came to the United States. Here comes Santa Claus. Here's some Santa Claus. And he's asking for $110 billion more. And people are too busy wondering, is Draymond Green going to be suspended from the NBA? You got to understand how powerful that is. Where are black leaders asking for reparations when a white man that's not even an American country never built this country, his ancestry never built this country for free? And he has the balls to come over and ask for $110 billion more. If not that, how about $60 billion? In the last vote on the aid package, the Senate failed to find the required 60 votes for passage. But they're voting on whether to give President Zelensky $110 billion before they even talk about reparations. Because we're all busy standing up for the kickoff. I'm talking about black folks. Not about blaming white people. Where are our black leaders and politicians? Clyburn asked the black church and the politicians to get together to help elect President Biden. And as we have the task force, even Congress considering reparations, as they're considering reparations, President Biden on Tuesday, he announced that he signed a $200 million presidential drawdown. As we're still considering, what do we do for these black folks? See, President Zelensky wanted another $110 billion. They already gave him $100 billion earlier in the year. Now he's asking for $110 billion, if not that, $60 billion. So now the president said, well, let's give you $200 million for the drawdown. What have they done for black Americans that helped them get into office? Has anyone come into the black community and said, here's $200 million for Christmas, for buying houses, starting a business? Why are we not hearing that for us? House Speaker Mike Johnson gave no signal that the leader's visit swayed his opinion in any way, because they're saying no more money. And they're saying no more money for this guy. They're starving in the Sudan. Black bodies, no one's talking about it. Nearly 1 million people starving, children. So what the Biden administration seems to be asking for, as we stand up for the kickoff, asking for billions of dollars of additional money with no appropriate oversight, no clear strategy to win, and none of the answers that I think the American people are owed. That comes from members of Congress. How is he able to get so much money as we stand up for the kickoff? Touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. Think about that as you're out shopping for Christmas, trying to get a Tonka truck or a new pair of shoes. Ukraine said will emerge from this war proud, free, and firmly rooted in the West unless we walk away. It's like the Southern Confederates when they lost the Civil War. President Andrew Johnson gave them the money anyway instead of giving it to the descendants of chattel slavery, black Americans. Why are you giving more money to somebody who already lost the war? What happened to the first $100 billion? As we stand up for the kickoff, and I'm talking to black folks, the ones that say, oh, we can't get a job, we can't get a loan, it's more difficult for us. I met with a woman today at a major university in Northern California, and she's a brilliant lady studying for her doctorate. And she said it's more difficult for her than it is for mainstream. And as we're having those conversations about how we build up economic opportunities and having parties all throughout the country, someone from the Ukraine just got $200 million more. And he's trying to get $110 billion. Why are people not paying attention? Now, there's some people in politics that said they're sure he's just coming to beg for more money. And they even talked about an interview that was on CNN and warned that there are people in the House of Representatives, in Congress, and there are people in America on the streets. They could use $200 million as we're busy standing up for the kickoff. And that's why I just love what I do with the Big C Sports. I don't want to be a sickle fence. Am I amazing? Not according to CNN, not according to the Associated Press, because they wrote about the work that I'm doing. And all I'm doing is footnoting what I see. And I know maybe it's too much to ask for other leaders in the what you call the quote-unquote black community to step up and talk about reparations. When it's a perfect timing. A white man from the Ukraine, President Zelensky, comes to the United States in a sweater and some khaki pants, not even a suit. And he's asking for money that was set aside for freedmen and descendants of chattel slavery. And I don't see any of our black politicians or leaders that say they want to become president of the United States standing there next in line saying, now I want to make my proposal. What about giving that $100 billion to black Americans? Why are they not doing it? I am. You can't say I'm not doing it. I'm pleading with Congress. I'm pleading with the White House. I'm pleading with the NBA. I'm pleading with the NFL. But sometimes it's like they say if a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, does it make a sound? Well, President Zelensky has told all of our black leaders, whether it's Clyburn or Booker or anybody else, Tim Scott, I know he dropped out of the race. When they saw him on stage with a white lady, he's lost all of his vote support. Why aren't they doing what President Zelensky did? It's the perfect time. President Biden just wrote a check for $200 million. As we are standing up for the kickoff, why aren't there black men and women in Congress asking for that money? To kick off slavery, Georgetown did it. They pledged over $1 billion to 272 families, descendants of child slavery. We think $1 billion is a lot. But President Zelensky's asking for 200 times that amount. And President Biden wants to give it to him. President Zelensky did not rally people together to vote for our president. He said he would help black Americans. I'm going to get into it. I know you want to hear about the game. That's why they shucking and jiving when it comes to the black vote. Oh, you don't got to do that, but promise them. Just promise them what you gonna do. But that white man's over here for Christmas asking for $100 billion, $110 billion. Know your numbers, Curry. Collectively over 200 million. Okay, collectively over 200 million. And we're shucking and jiving over a Tonka truck, some Nike shoes, standing in line called Black Friday, which is after Thanksgiving. People standing in line at 4 o'clock in the morning to buy some Tonka trucks, some sweaters, and some Nike shoes. President Zelensky, he didn't stand in line. He went right to the White House. And that's so important because we're so concerned about what's going to happen with Draymond Green. That's what the sports world is. Our black men are saying, man, what about Draymond Green? What do you think is going to happen with Draymond Green? Doesn't make any sense to me. I can't be the only one. But I do want to get back into what I said about money. He's not the only one asking for money. Senator Marco Rubio out of Florida and Senator Rick Scott out of Florida, they reintroduced a bill to Congress. It's called Restore Holocaust Survivors' Rights. What? Yeah, these senators are petitioning Congress for money for descendants of Holocaust. Just like descendants of child slavery. Who's petitioning Congress for descendants of child slavery? I know Big C Sports is. The California Task Force is. I just mentioned it because I got to say it. If I don't say it, you won't hear it. Reparations, Georgetown pledged over $1 billion to 272 families. And that's in the same city as Washington, D.C. That's in the same city that President Zelensky flew to ask for $110 billion. It's almost like if a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, doesn't make a sound. Let me ask you, if the president writes a check for $200 million and nobody hears it, doesn't make a sound. As we're standing in line to buy Tonka trucks, sweaters, and Nike shoes for the holidays. Black families, where are our black leaders? It would be great if Ben Crump, or I'm not even going to say Al Sharpton. I know a lot of people are in whatever position they're in for whatever they are. But it would be great if we had, because the president's open, he wrote a check. I mean, maybe I need to go to the White House and ask for reparations. Because a lot of our other people are sucking and jiving, can't wait to get to the Christmas party. Got to get to that Christmas party, that holiday party, so I can network. And we getting worked over by President Zelensky. We're spending $100 to go to a holiday party, spending money to go to a holiday party, and this man is at the White House asking for $110 billion. He's not going to your holiday party. Give him praise for asking. At least he's asking. At least he has the guts to ask. Can't knock him on that. Even though that money was set aside for black Americans after slavery was abolished. I want to thank Double O, part of the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project, sent me this order called Executive Order 13985. That was also signed by President Biden on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. That's the White House. But where's the $200 billion that he's trying to give Ukraine? I would have thought that would have been a kickoff for reparations. Why do we have to wait so long that a foreign government can come here and get money before we even get a vote? Doesn't make any sense. I'll finish on this because it's important. President Joe Biden back studying reparations as Congress considers the bill. Well, is he backing studying the $200 million check that he just wrote? No, he just signed it. Did he back studying the $100 billion that they already gave Ukraine? No, he signed it. And now he's trying to get him another $110 billion. He's not studying it. If I'm wrong, show me. That's embarrassing. The black vote pejoratively put him in office. He said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And now he's giving money to these foreign countries. But mark my words, the election's coming up in less than a year. They're going to be right back in the black community saying they're going to trot out President Obama. He's going to say, well, you should vote for the man that gave a white man in Ukraine money before even reparations started. He's going to do it. I love President Obama, but he knows he should have done that. They're giving all this money to foreign countries, and that money was set aside for descendants of child slavery. They're going to ask all of our black politicians to do the same thing. They're going to ask your churches to get together and make sure that you hold polling places in your churches. Oh, why you always talk about politics, Curry? They're going to ask the major sports teams, NBA basketball teams, and NFL stadiums, can you please open up the parking lots in your facilities and open your facilities so people can vote? They're going to ask the sports leagues. I'm telling you, they're going to ask the sports league. Even the sports leagues are going to start telling you, the same guys that won't say reparations now, reparations forever. Those same NBA and NFL sports leagues and Major League Baseball, they're going to say, make sure you vote because your vote counts. Your vote counts. President Zelensky says, what are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean? I didn't vote before I got the money. He didn't vote. He just asked. Why is it so difficult for our leaders to step up? I don't have a political background other than what I read about. I've never been elected office other than Neighborhood Watch program. I was voted best dressed when I was in high school, so I got to go back to that. And I have won awards for speaking, so I got to say that too. But where are our politicians that are all stomping, telling you that they want to be the next president of the United States, and the secret ingredient is just pass reparations, you'll get the black vote before it happens. And Biden is so busy talking to Zelensky. To me, it's a shame. Before I get into the sports, because I'm already in sports. I just told you our sports leagues and owners are going to open up their stadiums saying, please come vote, to make it easier, because a lot of times many political parties have blocked voting in black districts. Google Freedmen's Bank, FREEDMENS Bank, chartered by the United States Congress, March 1865, to provide a place for former slaves to safely store their money. And that's the money that President Zelensky is trying to get now. There were 50 white trustees that were put in charge of the money. A board of 50 white trustees were named to manage the bank's affairs. And they stole the money! That money was set aside. And even with Freedmen's Bank, according to the charter of the Freedmen's Bank, the money deposited was to be invested in stocks, bonds, treasury notes, or other securities, of the United States. Unlike a conventional bank, Freedman's Bank was forbidden. What's forbidden mean, Curry? Google it. They were forbidden to make loans to the black depositors. What? Yes! It operated as a sort of cooperative. Each depositor owned a share of the bank's assets in proportion to his or her deposit. But they cannot make a loan with the bank that they put the money in. You got to understand, it was John W. Alford, a congressional minister, and Anson M. Sperry, a United States Army paymaster, individually identified that need and attempted to foster the creation of such an institution in early 1865. And Alford's effort culminated in the legislation passed by Congress March 3rd, 1865. They should have been passing reparations. And later those white men stole that money. And that's some of the money that Zelensky is asking for. What? You didn't know that? Google it. They didn't raise taxes to get that money. It's already there. Trump used some of it. President Obama used some of it. And President Biden used some of it. And you could Google that. You got to give Big C Sports some praise. I'm not just sucking and jiving. And now, be that as it may, I want to get into a little bit of what's going on in the NBA. But I have a workshop coming up on Friday to deal with long-term care, because it's going to become a mandate in 2025 that every employer must offer long-term care solutions to their employees. Just like car insurance is a mandate now. Well, long-term care is going to become a mandate also. When it comes with Medicare and Medicaid, there's a handbook that shows how to take care of tomorrow that was actually originally put together by President Lyndon Baines Johnson. And it's a guide that will help people guide their family, protect and preserve and transfer wealth. And I'm going to that tomorrow to mention that also as a service for insurance brokers around the country. Join the Big C team, 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. And tell them Big C sent you. I'm looking to get 1,000 brokers to work together, creating opportunities to put America back to work again and protecting families. In the meantime, for you real estate brokers and insurance brokers, we have a business loan alternatives company, can improve in less than a day with same-day funding. Items needed to qualify: 4 months bank statements, $5,000 minimum monthly revenue, 6 months in business. We specialize in unsecured working capital. When the banks say no, don't give up hope. Call 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And tell them Big C sent you. Up to $5 million can be loaned through factoring. No collateral. Early payoff discounts can fund in less than a day. You got to give that some praise. Don't be shucking and jiving. Join the Big C team. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. And tell them Big C sent you, if that makes sense to you. I got to get into something now, because I love working with the National Black Wall Street Project as a co-chair in Northern California. National Black Wall Street Project, you can Google it. It's about economic empowerment, justice, and equality for all. I thought you were going to tell me about Draymond Green being suspended, Curry. I'm going to get there too. But National Black Wall Street is a global project on a mission to elevate our community with a sense of righteousness and economic education for people of color, known as Black Americans, are descendants of chattel slavery. Over 50 years of experience contributing towards community growth, they're adept at amplifying economic recovery for international stability. In Big C Sports was part of that. Give that some praise. As you've given that praise, I want to say I'm so appreciative of so many things that I've learned working with people. I want to touch on, I want college kids to Google Powernomics.com. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about reparations. He's also worked with the President Biden administration, but he didn't get the money before President Zelensky got it. And that's a shame. And we got to fix that. We got to find a way to fix that. H.R. 40, 117, the Congress commissioned to study and develop reparations proposals for African Americans. And President Zelensky already got his money. Reparations, a Senate bill called AB 3121, California legislative tracking the state for how they come up with a proposal to pay reparations. And President Zelensky already got his money. Got to figure it out, people. Got to. Tonight we got some, as we stand up for the kickoff, the Raiders and the LA Chargers on a Thursday night football game. And these two teams are struggling. The Las Vegas Raiders going to conclude their stretch with 5 of 6 games at home when they begin Week 15 of the 2023 NFL schedule against the AFC West rivals, the Los Angeles Chargers. It's Thursday night football in Las Vegas. They're 5-8 on the season, won his first 2 home contests over that span, but has lost the last 2 after dropping a 3-0 decision. 3-0 decision to the Minnesota Vikings last Sunday. Now, Los Angeles 5-8 coming off his 4th defeat in 5 games. A 24-7 home setback against the Denver Broncos will be without quarterback touchdown Justin Herbert due to a season-ending figure injury. And the Chargers have won 4 of their last 6 meetings with the Raiders, including 24-17 at home in Week 4. So kickoff at Allegiant Stadium is set for 8:15 p.m. East Coast time is already underway. Las Vegas a 3-point favorite in the latest Raiders versus Chargers odds, while the over-under total points is 34.5. Before making any decisions, the Raiders are favored by 3. And when they played the Chargers earlier in the year, they lost. I mean, think about this. The Raiders lost 3-0. How are they favored by 3? They lost 3-0 to Minnesota. How are they favored by 3? Be careful, Vegas, because everybody, not Vegas, Vegas knows what they're doing. 800 Gambler, if you're going to put money on that game, because we really don't know. I don't understand how the Raiders have lost what used to be a great organization under Al Davis, the late Al Davis, and now under his son, Mark Davis. They haven't been the same. The Raiders have scored 17 points or less in 4 consecutive games. The Chargers have amassed a total of 23 points over the last 3 contests. So both franchises are not playing good football this year. But when you think about why the Raiders can cover, 800 Gambler, the Raiders have been limited to 17 points or less in 4 straight games, in 6 of his last 7. And the Chargers have given up an average of 21 points this season per game, and is ranked 29th in total defense. They're allowed 375 yards per game on average. And against the pass, giving up 262 yards. The Raiders have scored at least 27 points in the 3 meetings with the Chargers, winning twice while losing the other game in overtime. So the Raiders hope to have the service of running back Josh Jacobs, but he's not going to play. He's been ruled out. And he left last week's game with a quadricep injury. He's not gonna play tonight. And then when you think about these 2 great teams, without Devontae Adams, which is going to hurt the Raiders' offense, how are they going to beat the Chargers if they don't have good players? Now, the Chargers, when you think about how they stop Devontae Adams, he averaged 108 yards a game against them over the last 4 contests. He's 133 yards away from posting his 4th consecutive 1,000-yard season. He made 8 catches for 75 yards at Los Angeles earlier this season, amassed 318 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2 meetings last year. But I don't know if he's playing in tonight's game. There's been some thoughts that he's maybe under concussion protocol. But why can the Chargers cover? Think about the Chargers. Herbert went down with that broken thumb, had to have surgery. So he's lost for the rest of the season. And when you think about it, it was 179 yards on 13 of 24 passings. You got to realize they have a quarterback by the name of Stick who's going to be playing tonight. But the Raiders, they gave up. The Raiders, they were scoreless at home against the Vikings. I don't understand how Vegas puts them a 3-point favorite. What do they know that we don't know? I don't understand it. 800 Gambler. But no matter what you think about the Raiders and the Chargers, they're not playing good football right now. And I don't know how to pick this team. I can't go with a team that got shut out at home by the Minnesota Vikings, the 3-0. I don't know how you can put your faith in them, 800 Gambler, if that's what you want to do. But if you think about betting on this game, you probably have more money than you need. So I want to give that some praise if you have more money than you need as we stand up for the kickoff. All fair and love and war. I want to get into something else that's near and dear to me, even though I don't talk much about it all the time because it is college sports and there's a lot of stuff going on in the NFL. But I want to give you Big C's thoughts on college basketball power rankings. And when I think about name, image, and likeness, I think about California Senator Stephen Bradford, the top senator in the United States, in my opinion, because he sponsored name, image, and likeness to help college athletes get paid on their name, image, and likeness. And then he also authored the Ebony Alert, which helps law enforcement put resources into finding black children when they go missing. And now he's also on the Reparations Task Force. I'll give them some praise too. So before I even get into standing up for the kickoff, I want to do what I think other people should do, because I'm not waiting for someone to do it. I either lead, follow, or get out of the way. And as far as leadership, I think I have some authority to talk about it because Big C Sports was featured in a story in CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, Fox News, the Associated Press. And I want to give the task force some acknowledgement because nobody else will. They get less acknowledgement than President Zelensky. I want to thank the California Reparations Task Force, Camila Moore, the chair. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I love giving praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown, vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I love giving praise to California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. Also authored name, image, and likeness. And also the Ebony Alert. He's brilliant, and he's also going to help get reparations passed in California. I'm going to be having a meeting coming up with him after the holidays. I want to thank Council Member Monica Montgomery Steppe. She's brilliant. Love giving her praise. I want to give praise to extended member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Cheryl Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis. He's brilliant. Also a professor at California Berkeley. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Tamaki. He's part of the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. As a Japanese American, they got reparations, and he acknowledged that at a task force rally. You gotta know that. I want to thank CNN and proud sponsor of the Big C Sports. I want to thank T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports. You gotta get that some praise. And as I get in, we can talk about college basketball. Tomorrow, I'm going to run down the Big C's thoughts on NFL football because everybody knows that football is big in this country, and I love it. I love giving my 2 cents on it when it comes to that. But I also want to go back to basketball, and college basketball is amazing. I know we're football crazy in this country and NBA basketball crazy in this country, but I also want to make sure that I do my part to pay homage to the young players, and many will not go on to play professional sports, but they give it all they have in college basketball. And I love what I do with college basketball also. I'm going to bring up my thoughts on Big C's college basketball power rankings, and people can take it and do with it what they want. I'm going to start with number 12 because I want to start out here on the West Coast when I talk about Big C's in college basketball power rankings. I want to start with number 12, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Braden Huff finished with 17 points and 3 steals in Monday's 78-40 win over Mississippi Valley State, Jerry Rice's alma mater. And the Zags, they actually have a next game coming up Friday against UConn. What a game that should be. UConn is always tough. I want to give number 11 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I want to go with the Oklahoma Sooners, and Javion McCollum finished with 20 points 5 rebounds in Saturday's 79-70 win over Arkansas, the Razorbacks. And the Sooners' next game is Saturday against Green Bay. Oklahoma's always good in football, basketball, and baseball. They have a great program down there in this great Southwest. I want to bring in number 10 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. The Illinois Fighting Illini, Marcus Domask, finished 2 of 11 from the field in Saturday's 86-79 loss to the Tennessee Volunteers. The Illini's next game is Sunday against Colgate, and so they're Big C's top 10 college basketball program. I want to go number 9 in Big C's college basketball program is my story, and I'm sticking with it. I'm going to go with North Carolina. The North Carolina Tar Heels. Armando Bacot was 4 of 12 from the field in Tuesday's 87-76 loss to UConn. The Tar Heels' next game is Saturday against Kentucky. I love putting them in Big C's number 9 in college basketball's power rankings. Number 8 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I want to go with the Tennessee Volunteers. And Jonas Adu finished with 29 points, 11 rebounds in Tuesday's 74-56 win over Georgia Southern. The Volunteers' next game is Saturday against North Carolina State. They have a really good team in the SEC. I want to go number 7 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I got to go with Marquette and Tyler Kolek. He finished dropping 17 points and 7 assists in Saturday's 78-59 win over Notre Dame. The Golden Eagles' next game is Thursday night. That's tonight against St. Thomas. If that makes sense to you, I got them at number 7 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I want to take you to number 6 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I got to go with the Baylor Bears down in the Big 12. The Baylor Bears, Ray J. Dennis finished dropping 17 points and 7 assists Tuesday in his 78-60 win over the great Seton Hall program. And the Bears' next game is Saturday against the Michigan State Spartans, if that makes sense to you, of the Big Ten Conference. Baylor has a good team. Remember, they won the national championship just a couple of years ago, and they are a big, strong program. They play basketball kind of like a football team plays, if that makes sense to you. I got to go with number 5 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I'm going to go with the UConn Huskies. The great Alex Caravan finished dropping 26 points and 7 rebounds in Saturday's 101-63 win over the great Arkansas Pine Bluff program. The Huskies' next game is Friday against Gonzaga. That's a game that you want to see if you want to find out who the top teams are. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to go with number 4 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. And in my opinion, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go with the Houston Cougars. Isn't that something? Emmanuel Sharp finished with dropping 25 points, 3 steals in Saturday's 89-55 win over the great Jackson State. And the Cougars' next game is Saturday against Texas A&M. That's a big battle in the state of Texas. May the team with the biggest cowboy boots win. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to give my thoughts on Big C's number 3 team and Big C's college basketball power rankings. I'm going to go with the Purdue Boilermakers at number 3. Zach Etney finished dropping 35 points, 8 rebounds. What is this about Purdue and their dominance in the Big Ten Conference? They have the great Ohio States, the Michigan States of the world. They're really difficult to handle, and Purdue obviously can't take them lightly at all. They've always been ranked high, but then at times they get knocked off. But this Purdue team might be a little bit different. They had that 92-86 win over Alabama of the SEC. And then the Boilermakers' next game is Saturday against Arizona, and that is going to show you, that's going to tell you where a lot of teams stand as they do it on the court. And they play to win the game. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 2 in Big C's college basketball power rankings, and it's my opinion, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say the Kansas Jayhawks. Hunter Dickinson finished 13 points, 16 rebounds in Saturday's 73-64 win over Missouri, and the Jayhawks' next game is Saturday at Indiana. The Jayhawks, great program. How do they recruit so well? I don't know, but the history of that program shows that they keep winning and they win big, if that makes sense to you. I want to go to number. Can you tell me who's number 1? Big C. I want to get you to number 1, in my opinion, It's just my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. And they come from the Conference of Champions. The great Bill Walton talked about that. The Arizona Wildcats. Caleb Love finished dropping 20 points and 7 rebounds in Saturday's 98-73 win over Wisconsin of the Big Ten. And the Wildcats' next game is Saturday against number 3 seed Purdue, according to Big C's power rankings. And that's a game that's going to maybe tell you where people stand in the world of college basketball. Arizona undefeated right now, and Purdue will be coming in with that one loss. I know everybody loves to talk about college sports and what people are going to do to get to the next level, if they can get to the next level, but that's why they play the game. College basketball is amazing. When I think about how much greatness goes into college basketball, I think about some of the great programs over the years, and Jerry Tarkanian from the UNLV Running Rebels, Dean Smith with the North Carolina Tar Heels, and obviously you have Coach Krzyzewski with the Duke Blue Devils, have always had great programs. And when you think about those guys and how well they coach teams to win, also can't forget the late Bobby Knight, as truculent as he was, the late John Thompson, Bobby Knight at Indiana, John Thompson at Georgetown, some great programs. And Arizona, the great late Lute Olson, also have the Wildcats up. He built that program, and now they're just carrying on what he started. But UCLA, the UCLA Bruins, under the late great John Wooden, more championships than any other college basketball program. But it's been since 1995 when Tyus Etnies and the Good Old Boys helped UCLA win the last national championship. They've been back a couple of times, but they did not get over the hump. So when I think about what I'm going to bring up to you, Arizona remains number one for the 12th consecutive day. They're a top program. Will they finally win another national championship in their last year in the Pac-12? They'll be joining the Big 12 next year. I got Baylor. They're coming in the top 25. I have them number 6. And the Bears are undefeated heading into Saturday's game against Michigan State. That's going to be played in Detroit. And their best win so far is a season opening victory over Auburn out of the SEC. So I have my opinion about who the better teams are. You don't have to agree with me, but it's still Big Steve's thoughts, and I want you to give me some praise for Big Steve's thoughts. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got to get into, as we close out, for Big C's thoughts on this beautiful day. It's a beautiful December 14th, 2023. I told a story yesterday, but it wasn't quite as funny as I wanted it to be. Because we all believe in standing up for the kickoff. We believe in ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Now, this is where you can sing along with me. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus. Santa's on his way, dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the hills we go, dashing all the way. Bells are sparkling, making spirits rise. Oh, what fun it is to laugh and sing a Christmas song tonight. Oh, jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. You want the real Santa Claus song? Well, I told that story about a man coming home 2 days early for Christmas, and some people thought it wasn't appropriate. I told you it was an adult joke. Well, how about this? How about this one? So a lady comes home, shopping early from being out of town, finding something for Christmas. And she kept hearing, ho, 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 ho. So she comes home 2 days early, and she walks into her house, and she said, I wonder if Santa Claus already been here. She kept hearing, ho, 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 ho. So she goes upstairs and says, what is all this stuff? All these long johns laying on the stairs, going upstairs, and there's rose petals going upstairs and cigars, ashes on my carpet. So she hears this ho, 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 ho. She goes into the master bedrooms, and to her dismay, she hears ho, 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 ho. She says, Santa, what are you doing in my bed? And he goes, ho, 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 ho. She says, honey, what are you doing in bed with Santa Claus? And the honey says, honey, what are you doing home so early? She says, what are you doing with Santa Claus in my bed? He says, I'm making a Christmas list, and he's checking it twice. He's going to find out who's naughty or nice. Ho, 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 ho. Give that some praise. Maybe that would go over to some people. Maybe it won't. All's fair, level work. I want to close out with saying reparations now, reparations forever. We deserve our reparations. Ho, 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 and a Merry Christmas. I got the NBA scoring leaders. Number 5 is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, dropping 30 points per game. Number 4, the great Kevin Durant. And Alexander is out of OKC. Kevin Durant averaging 31 points a game. And number 2, King Giannis Antetokounmpo out of Milwaukee, dropping 32 a game. He had 64 in his last outing, and he's trying to find his basketball, if that makes sense to you. And he's tied with number 2, the great Luka Doncic out of the Dallas Mavericks, also dropping 32 points per game. But number 1 in Big C's NBA basketball scoring leaders, the great Joel Embiid. That little boy dropping 34 points per game for the Philadelphia 76ers. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to bring you to who's doing the best when it comes to another thing that we all like. It's called Curry for 3. I'm going to finish out today's show with the best three-pointer shooters in the NBA this year. I know they're shooting for reparations now. Reparations forever. Every time they make a basket, I want them to challenge the champion reparations. Number 5 in Big C's three-point contest made this year, Tyrese Halliburton, 75 three-point plays with Indiana, if that makes sense to you. Number 4 is Kobe White for Chicago, has 79 threes. He's also tied with Bogdanovich for Atlanta with 79 threes. I want to give them some praise. Number 2, the great Luka Doncic with 86 threes. But number 1 in Big C's NBA basketball universe, Steph Curry for 3. With 106 threes made for the Golden State Warriors. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I wanna just get people's thoughts on 2 things before I close. I want people to do your homework. Yeah, they call me a maven. I'm the only sports talk show host in the universe that's been interviewed about reparations. They didn't call ESPN. They didn't call NBC Sports. They didn't call CBS Sports. They didn't call ABC Sports. They didn't call NBC Sports. They didn't call the NBA on TNT with Shaq, Kennedy J. Smith, and Charles Barkley. You would think they could talk about reparations. They're all rich. And they didn't even ask Ernie. But they asked Big C. So don't wait for someone to ask you anything. Google AB 3121. Google it. What is AB 3121, Curry? I told you, Google it so you can read this stuff for yourself. It's about the California legislative tracking the bill for reparations. You got to know it exists because on the other sports shows, all you hear is touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. That's all you're going to hear. You can also Google HR 40. It's about reparations. And we deserve it before President Zelensky gets all the money. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I'm going to do a quick 2-minute run-through of my family legacy, where I come from, give that some praise. This is why I'm here, my beautiful mother's side. My great-grandmother called her Mama, beautiful, loving, kind woman. Always making sure lots of love in the family, lots of food in the belly. My great-granddaddy called him Pop, from a military man and from a Negro League baseball player. Always doing everything to fix everything. The real MacGyver can fix anything from planes, trains, and automobiles. My beautiful grandmother, Madia, beautiful, loving, kind woman, a seer, could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. And then my grandfather, Hezekiah, another one of a person, could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and their future. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coaching all boys a Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always saying rise and shine. On my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, a pastor. He had 3 churches. He owned 2 gas stations in Oakland. And he owned 40 acres of land like the Emancipation Proclamation with Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. I want to thank my grandmother, Alberta Curry, working with my granddaddy with the 3 churches and the 2 gas stations. I was 8 years old walking through a hallway. And I felt someone touch me on my forehead. It was 10 o'clock at night. She said, "Excuse me, young man, are you going to get some more cookies?" I said, "Well, what are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "Are you going to get some more cookies, young man?" I said, "Cookies are baby crap to what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations." And some cookies won't hurt. But she said, "There's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak." And now Big C Sports Podcast is being written up by the Associated Press, CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, and I really do appreciate where it came from. I want to thank my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent and share the knowledge and love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Want to thank my beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Always saying go forward. A voracious reader, love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then I want to thank my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Set up the very first interview for Big C Sports. We went on from there to become the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. It had never happened before until 2 black men in the crew started doing our thing. Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. She'd also helped me set up when college coaches came to the West Coast to do it with Big C Sports. I want to thank, I tell you, Daisy, Isaiah 54:17, no weapon from to get you will prosper. I want to thank my son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always Google and pick up newspapers to look up stats for Big C Sports podcast to get stats and stories for teams and players. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since, now on 29 platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, do you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now it's streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. You can be anything you want to be, Malcolm. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe, saying let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show, as the nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-bit teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I do it for my higher self, and I love giving that praise. Well, as I always tell you, and yeah, I talk fast because I think fast. I learned that from President Zelensky. If you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can walk it off, you can sleep it off, you can call Uber, you can call Lyft, but don't let someone you love start drinking and get behind the wheel of a car to drive. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. As I always honor, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, it makes me want to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee and rumble, young man, rumble. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage. If you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911 because things change when the police show up. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Don't forget to honor President Abraham Lincoln, Big C. Oh, that's right. Now I honor President Abraham Lincoln. What is he saying to Congress and President Joe Biden? The same thing he did for President Zelensky. He said, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. If you would have asked President Abraham Lincoln his thoughts on reparations, he would have said, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. Say it one more time that your team just won the game. What must Congress and President Joe Biden do? According to President Abraham Lincoln, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. I hope that you have a super fantastic day.